In these modern times, silver and gold stacking seems to be a bit of a counterculture at this point. Not only is it not talked about in the media often at all, it requires a different type of interest in value and material goods. And not only that, it requires discipline and foresight that many seem to fail to have. I think it goes without mentioning that silver and gold stackers view life in a different way. They look at it from a different angle, and they have an interesting perspective on what real value is. With how fast the world moves these days, it seems instant gratification has taken over the minds of the masses. And so today, I would like to talk about a few key traits, qualities, and strengths you have to have if you want to be a consistent silver and gold stacker. Let's get into it. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. We're pushing hard for 4,000 subs. I saw a news article the other day talking about Coachella tickets. Coachella is a very, very popular music event, and it has been for decades now. But what was interesting about this article was it was pointing out the fact that the majority of ticket purchases were done with buy now, pay later methods. Now, I'm not here to say that having a good experience and making some good memories is a bad idea, but I am here to say that if you're going to do that, it's probably a good idea, in my personal opinion, to be able to afford it. Treats are meant to be earned, and if someone doesn't have the money to be able to afford that sweet snack, maybe they should work a little bit harder. Now, I'm not the hugest proponent of the bootstrap mentality. Life can be very difficult and things are very expensive, but if it's just a concert, I don't think it's worth it to go into debt for it. And I think we can apply these buying habits to life in general. Credit card balances are higher on average than they ever have been before, and the 20 to 30% interest rates accompanied by these credit cards is absolutely appalling. And it seems to be a stark contrast when you take a look at the buying habits of the average American and then compare it to stackers. Silver and gold stackers are very hardworking people, in my opinion, and as hard as they work for their fiat dollars, they are still very, very excited when it's time to go check out the coin shop. I think if you were to show the average person a silver stacker's buying habits, how much money they're putting in and what they're getting out of it, I think they would be absolutely confused. They may even laugh. The idea of putting hundreds or thousands of dollars a month into coins that just sit on your desk would probably be a very, very odd and confusing thing for the average person to see. And that's totally understandable. If you've never heard of silver and gold stacking, I expect that to be someone's reaction. I don't think that's an irrational reaction. I think it's just an uneducated one. But no matter how laughable the idea of stacking silver and gold coins may be to the average American debt owner, there's one key difference between most silver stackers' purchases and the average American's purchases. And that is that stackers in general pick up their pieces with money they already have. They're not going into debt, they're not paying interest. They're ahead of their financial obligations and responsibilities, and they're free to do whatever they like with their leftover expendable income. And not only that, these precious metals gain value over time. It's a completely different financial situation that stackers find themselves in versus the average everyday American. And I'm not at all here to talk down on anybody else. I'm not holier than thou. I don't stand on some moral high ground, but the numbers don't lie. I'm still driving the vehicle that I purchased shortly after I graduated high school, and at this point, its paint is chipping, some of the trim has peeled, and it looks a bit worse for wear, but to me, all that matters is that it gets me from point A to point B. And I have had a few situations over the years where my vehicle was compared to someone else's vehicle. I was given a hard time about it, but my response to these lighthearted, silly criticisms was that my car is better than any other car on the road. And the immediate question from others followed by that bold statement is, why is that? Why is this old vehicle better than any other car rolling down the highway? And my response is that I don't owe anything on it. I don't have to pay a monthly car payment. And I explain that the moment you pay off your car, that's the moment you give yourself an instantaneous raise. While it's important to make as much money as you can in your given career, it's also important to keep your lifestyle as economic as possible, in my personal opinion, not financial advice. So in regards of how silver stackers operate with their finances versus the average person, there are countless differences. So if you happen to be somebody that is just now stumbling upon the idea of silver and gold stacking, maybe this is the first video you've ever found on YouTube talking about this topic, there are two key skills that you have to obtain if you want to have any hope of building up solid weight in silver and gold. And those two skills are going to be sacrifice and discipline. Number one, you're going to have to sacrifice those Coachella tickets you went into debt for and instead stay home, don't go into that debt, and then find ways to reduce your cost of living further. The more you can reduce this, the more expendable income you'll have at the end of the month to put towards precious metals. The second skill is going to be discipline. Not only do you have to sacrifice, you've got to have discipline. You've got to stay consistent. Now, yes, life can throw curveballs at times that prevents you from stacking, and that's fully understandable. But if you're spending $8 to $10 every single morning on Starbucks, that's an entirely different story. You've got to have the discipline to refrain from some of the more fun and luxurious aspects of life in order to get a hold of this stuff. And I think a lot of Americans are simply not willing to do these two things. They're not willing to sacrifice some of the luxuries that they experience, and they're not willing to have the discipline to retain a low cost of living. And sure, yeah, life can get a little bit more boring, but financial freedom and security is worth a few slow afternoons. And I'm not speaking on this from any place of superiority. I used to be just like this. I used to be spending my money on things I didn't need, and my buying decisions were driven simply by things that I wanted. I neglected needs and prioritized wants. And I gotta tell you, ever since I discovered the value of silver and gold stacking along with its addictiveness, things have changed a lot. But anyways, guys, let me know about a few of the sacrifices you guys have made in pursuit of that beautiful, shiny silver and gold metal. I hope everyone's doing well out there. Stay safe, keep stacking. Peace.